Hi there, welcome to Modern Vegan Family. I'm Lisa Chell and you're in Chell's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making a low-fat vegan cream of celery soup with a protein punch. Gonna love it. Now, we've had a pretty severe winter. We've had some deep cold snaps and a lot of snow, and I don't know about you, but that's when I want some comfort food. And when I was growing up, my mom's favorite comfort food, or one of my favorites, was her cream of celery soup. And of course, she was raised on a farm, so there was butter and dairy, and it was high fat and had a flour, creamy flour base to it. But what I've done is veganize that soup so that you get all the goodness of the vegetables, no fat, no dairy, none of the starchiness or gluten from flour. You're going to have the cream coming from beans instead, and you're going to see how awesome this works. So let's get started. And this is really easy, really easy, okay? So you just take your pot, you don't even have to do anything fancy. Going to put in a liter of veggie broth, or you can use water, all right? So I'm using veggie broth today. That's 1 liter. And then I cut up 1 kind of medium, largish onion, diced it really small, add that in there. There was 3 small potatoes, and I like to scrub by organic potatoes, scrub the skins and keep the skins on. I'll put the potatoes in there. There was 4 smallish carrots, again organic. Put the carrots in there. Now there was 1 whole stalk of organic celery. I chopped it up, and I'm going to put that in there. I'll stir that around a little bit. After it starts to boil and simmer, I may need to add a little bit more water. We'll see. So I'm going to turn that on and get it to boil. Once it's boiling, I'm going to add some spices. Okay, so our broth and our vegetables have come to a boil. As you can see, I'm turning them down to simmer. And we're going to add, it was about a small head of parsley all chopped up, so we'll add the parsley. Now, it's the herbs that really make this soup dynamic. And if I had fresh dill, I couldn't find fresh dill at the store, I would be adding a big entire head of dill. But all I have today is dried dill, so I'm going to put in probably at least 2 heaping tablespoons. And if you love dill as much as I do, you might even add a little bit more. I'm going to put in a little bit more. What I love about soup is that you can always add or subtract to your taste. If you really like herbs, you can add extra herbs. And if you don't like as much as I do, you can take them out. This soup came right from how my mom made it on the farm. So they were always adding herbs from their own garden. This is a very old-fashioned soup. So you can see I added a lot of dill and parsley. Start with about a teaspoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of pepper. You're going to taste test later and add more as adjusted. You can't take salt out of a too salty soup. And now we're going to let that simmer. All those vegetables, herbs, very basic seasonings. We're going to let that simmer now. Put the lid back on. Maybe take it up just a tiny bit in heat, let that simmer while we make the cream sauce. Now, the way my mom made it, it was your typical white sauce with butter, flour, milk until it thickened. Well, we want a much more healthier version and obviously a vegan version. So what I have here is a couple cups of white cannelloni beans. Now, if you buy them by the can, you're going to end up somewhere with 1.5 cups to 2 cups. I make mine in my slow cooker, so I have 2 cups of nice soft white cannelloni beans, and I'm adding that to my mixer. Now, some of you might not have a high power blender, and that's okay. This recipe, these beans are so soft you don't need it to be in a high powered blender, but luckily I have my high powered blender. And this is 1 cup of organic soy milk. Now, for those of you who are like, oh, soy, I invite you to go to nutritionfacts.org, where Dr. Greger busts a lot of those soy myths. We like using soy in the house. I don't overuse it, and I always use organic. But if you really don't want to use soy, you can use either half a can of full-fat coconut milk and then a half a cup of water, or you might buy jugs of the drinkable coconut milk that they put on the shelf right by soy milk. Almond milk does not work as good for this because it tends to separate when it's boiled. So let's turn this on and we'll So instead of adding a thickened white sauce, we are adding a thickened bean puree that is going to give it the same level of creaminess in the soup, and it's low fat and high protein. So you are getting a lot of bang for your buck using this as your creamy base for a cream soup. All right, welcome back. So our soup has been simmering for about half an hour and it's ready to add the protein creamy base to it. Now I did take a little taste of it. It needs a little bit more salt. So I'm going to start off with about half a teaspoon just to make sure I don't over salt it. And a little bit more pepper. And stir that around a bit. Everything is nice and soft inside the soup, and we are going to add our creamy protein mixture here with the white beans and the soy milk. I've been using this a lot lately for making creamy soups. And it is amazing how well it works and how nutritious it makes your meal. We're going to stir in that cream, and it makes a beautiful creamy soup. Now again, if this soup is a little too watery, if you like it a little thicker, you can just simmer it down a little bit. Now we're going to take a little taste of it. It's a lovely, very like garden fresh farmer soup. I do think it needs a little bit more salt. So of course you're always going to be adjusting to your own taste. Now one of the things that I love with these kind of farm fresh type soups is to add a little bit of tangy something at the end, which offsets the creaminess, and so you get the kind of smooth with a little bit of tangy and the herbs, and oh, it's just delicious. So I have put 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in this bowl, and I'm going to add and start. I just start with a small amount, 2 tablespoons. Mix it in. I'm just going to plate out a little bit here. You can see there's a lovely, look at all those fresh vegetables and herbs. Oh, lovely. Really, really nice. Tastes a lot like how my mom made her homemade soup. It's just a more high protein, low fat version of it, and gluten free. So hopefully that you love this soup. Please sign up to the channel, subscribe to Modern Vegan Family, come back, we're posting new video content all the time. Peace, love, and plants.